All right, cool. So today's topic is success in September. So maybe for the last 8 months of the year, you might not have experienced the growth that you really want to achieve, right? However, September is the month to go on a 30-day hard out, 30 days, right? So September actually has 30 days in it. So it's one of the good opportunities to, do a 30-day run. So yeah, we're basically just going to talk through getting set up for a 30-day run for the month of September to set us up for the harvest like we spoke about last week, and actually reaping the rewards of the work we've been putting in for the rest of the year. So 30 days, you're going to do whatever it takes to actually get what you want in life. You're going to do the course you need to, you're going to read the books you need to, you're going to do everything you need to do in order to, get to where you want to be. So 3 questions that you need to ask yourself before, like by the end of tonight, pretty much, right? Because it's very important to do evaluation, because you can't really measure what you don't track. We've said this before in these sessions as well. If you don't know what's wrong, then you can't really fix it. So evaluation is very, very important in actually keeping you on track and, seeing where you're going wrong, seeing what you can improve on, and also actually acknowledging what you've done right. Because it's all well, like noticing what we've done wrong, but how often do we actually acknowledge what we're actually doing right? So it's important to, respond to what you've done right, do more of that, and also respond to what you've done wrong as well. Because if we're looking for quantum leaps in the last half of the year, in the last quarter, then this is something that we need to take seriously and actually, get on top of. So one of the first questions to ask is, what did I do well in August, or like what have I done well in the summer? Because you have to give yourself credit for what you've done well, like I already mentioned, right? And also when we want to like correct course, as if we did like make a mistake, for example, we don't want to focus on the failures. We can just forget the failures, right? Because they are technically irrelevant to getting us to where we want to be. Yeah, we might learn from them, but think of it this way, right? You only want to remember what you've done that's actually worked. You want to remember the successes and forget the failures. Because remember, when you're going on this journey, you're gonna go like in a zigzag. It's not going to be straight. It's not going to be a straight line, right? So you have to remember that you have to forget every time that you have failed. Don't forget the lessons that you learned from it, but forget that it was a failure. Like we were talking about last week, like as long as you attempted it, you didn't fail. Even if you did fail the attempt, you still won because you attempted it, right? And what was I saying? Oh yeah, getting back on course, right? We need to remember the successes, because like I said, it's not going to be a straightforward journey. You're going to go wrong. But as long as you forget the failure and remember the success that's going to get you back on course, that's what's going to take you to get into the goal, right? So the first question you need to ask yourself is, what have you actually done well? So you can remember the successes that are going to keep you on track to where you want to be, right? And it's okay to remember the pain in failure, but you have to remember the joy of winning as well. If you haven't hit a goal yet, think about when the last time you did an evaluation was, right? Do you even know what you're working towards? Do you even know, what you're actually trying to achieve? Because if you don't even know where you're starting, how are you supposed to know which direction you're supposed to go in, right? Think of it that way. So remember how good it feels to actually achieve a goal. And it's, like I said, it's okay to remember the pain and failure, but you don't want to focus your energy on a failure, because when you're focusing your energy on what you've done wrong and the failure you've made, unless you're actually focusing energy on it to learn from it so that you don't make the same mistakes again, you're actually focusing on something negative. And when you focus on something negative, that's what's going to grow, because what you focus on is what grows, right? So also, when you're asking yourself this question, you need to ask yourself, how coachable have you been as well? Have you applied information that you've learned straight away, or have you taken so much time to even consider if you are going to apply it, right? And that also goes with this school as well. If you are coachable, you will be thinking about already what you have done well so far this year. So that's the first question that you need to consider, right? The second question that you need to ask yourself is, what have you not done well? So this is one of the most important questions, apart from the third one, right? So this is where you actually be real with yourself. Like, what have you actually not done that you said you would do? What have you given your word, but then you've broken your word on? What habits have you tried to create, but that have not gone well? What things have you tried to do or said that you were going to do, but you haven't actually done them yet. Because when you say you're going to do something and then you don't do something, that now becomes debt that you actually have to pay back to the universe, right? Like we went through the other week. When you don't wake up at the time you said you were going to wake up to maybe look at the charts or maybe, look at your store or something like that, when you don't do these things, they start to add up. And when you start creating these negative habits, that's when you're actually going to go down the negative road. And remember, negative habits compound as fast as positive habits as well. And then once you get to that level where your negative habits are actually compounding, right, that's when you're going to reach the level of, rock bottom. And we don't want that to happen, right? So we need to make sure we're compounding the positive habits on top of each other. Also, have you been doing the personal development? Have you been doing the reading? Have you been taking trades? Have you been looking at charts? Have you been on the Zoom calls? All this kind of things, right? Have you actually been putting in the work that you need to do in order to get the results that you're saying that you want? Because if you're not even putting in the work to get the results that you say you want, like how badly do you actually want what you're saying you want, And also coming under that, like, have you been focused? Have you been distracted? All of these kinds of things, right? That can be taking your focus away from what you're trying to achieve. And it's just important to recognize what you're going to do to now make sure you don't do the same things again, right? Fixing what you have done, fixing the things that you haven't done well is what's going to change your life. That's how you're going to level up to the next level, when you actually recognize and write down the things that you have not been doing necessarily, and then try and find a way to now work on that, because that is essentially your weakness, right? When you find things that you haven't done well or things that you're struggling with, that's what you know to work on. So it's just about being honest with yourself and actually, realizing what you might not be doing wrong, what you might not be doing like the right way. But also remember, it's okay to make mistakes, because how else are we going to learn, right? How else are we going to, discover the lessons that were needed to be able to teach us what we need to know in order to progress to the next level, right? Also, write these down as well. That's so important, because you can't really use your mind as a filing cabinet of memories of things that you haven't necessarily done well, right? You need to write this down so that you can then look at it and visually see what you need to work on. And it's kind of like a reminder every time you see it, and every time you see that list of things you need to work on as bigger than the things that are actually going well, you know what you need to work on to improve, your situation and get you closer to where you want to be. And also you can actually see what you need to work on as well. So yeah, take the time to do this evaluation, and honestly, it will be more valuable than any other training or anything that you can actually, experience. Because when you know where your weaknesses are, when you know what you need to work on, that's when you can actually see the improvements being made, because you know what you need to work on, and then you start working on it, right? So that's the second question. The second question was, what have you not done well? And then the third question is, what improvements am I going to make for the month of September? Or what improvements am I going to make for the rest of the year? So you want to base these improvements off of the things that you actually didn't do well. So for example, if you didn't wake up like at a certain time that you set for yourself, if you didn't read a certain book, that kind of thing, that will be what you're going to do to improve. So you have to do things that you've never done to get things you've never had, right? So maybe if something that didn't go well for you is because you didn't even attempt to do it, then that's going to be one of the first things that you need to do in order to, level up in September, right? So for example, if you didn't read at all in August, you don't need to ramp it up and be like, I'm going to read one book per day or one book per week. No, just take it slow and just set a goal to read one book for the whole month of September. Because all you have to do really is just set a goal that you want to reach. And then something as easy as doing one little thing can actually change your life, because once you do it once, you know that it's possible. And then as you know it's possible, you start to, believe in yourself more, and you start doing it more. If you haven't written your goals down for the last however long, that's what you need to start doing in September as well. So dedicate the next 30 days of September to writing your goals down at least twice a day, when you wake up and when you go to bed. So when you wake up, that's actually when your subconscious is the most impressionable. So what are you actually feeding your mind as soon as you wake up? Do you wake up and go on your phone straight away? If you do, that needs to change for September. Because on a real note, if you're waking up and looking at your phone straight away, the first thing that you see on your phone is the information that's going to stay in your subconscious for the rest of the day, right? So you need to wake up and be reading your goal, because then that will stay in the back of your subconscious for the whole day, right? And you want to become obsessed, right? People and the chairman and stuff, they say become obsessed with this, and that is what it takes to, get to that level. Don't be the person who has been slipping up for months and you still haven't actually checked yourself for it, because it can be easy to not notice the little things, but this is where you need to do the evaluation. And when you notice these little things that you need to work on, this is when you're going to be able to actually acknowledge it. And when you acknowledge it, that's when you can do something about it, right? So for however long, it might be the last month, it might even be the last week, if you've been slipping up on some of these things, then it's time to check yourself and figure out why you slipped up first, and then make sure that doesn't happen again. Like, I get it's okay to have a few personal days and stuff like that, but emotions are not a place in business, right? Especially with what we're doing, we need to keep emotions out of trade, and we need to keep emotions out of the business that we're building. But it's okay to feel down as long as you don't let it affect your daily habits, because the moment you let outside circumstances and stuff like that affect your inner peace, that's the moment that you lose, right? That's the moment that you let your situation take control over your own responsibility to take action. Oh, I'm flowing today, guys. I'm flowing today. So, where was I? If you haven't read a book yet, or written your goals down, or meditated, or even visualized, but you want to get to where you want to be, ask yourself, do you actually know what you need to be doing? Do you actually know what's the work that needs to be put in to get you to where you want to be? Because if you haven't even read a book that's going to take you to where you want to be, if you haven't even written down what you want, if you haven't even tried meditation or tried visualizing, but you say you want to be where you want to be, do you actually want it that bad if you're not even willing to try these new things that are going to get you there? Because even your mentors, right, they can't want something for you more than you want it yourself. So in the next September, October, in the next 4 months, right, we want to go as hard as possible to end this year on a very, very high note, right? We can't afford to slip up. Our families are relying on us. Our bank accounts are relying on us, right? Our friends are relying on us. Our teams are relying on us to not slip up for them. So every slip up that we have over the next few months is going to cost us another day. It's going to cost us another, it's going to cost us an opportunity and another, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It's going to cost us, okay? So don't be one of the people who slip up in September because you're not aware of what you need to improve on. That's why awareness is so important, guys. As soon as you're aware of something, you can actually do something to fix it. So let me just see if anyone else is on. Okay, Claudia, let's go. All right, cool. So that is near enough the end of the call today. It's a little quick one. Just had to get it out there. Let's go run it up. Let's wait for this huge announcement at 8 o'clock. I can't wait to share this with you guys. But yeah, don't be the ones who slip up in September, because the way you start September and October is actually how you're going to go into the next year. So let's go hard for the next 30 days. Let's make the next 30 days the most important in your whole life. Dedicate these next 30 days to your growth as well, because without your growth, you are not going to get to where you want to be. You need to become the person that you are. You need to become the person who is actually deserving of the goal that you've set for yourself. You need to become the person who is actually ready to receive it, okay? So whatever lessons life throws at you in the next 30 days, take it as a lesson. Don't take it as, why is this happening to me? Take it as, why is this actually happening for me? What lessons can I learn from this challenge that I'm being faced with? That's going to make me a better person for the rest of the year. You're in control of your destiny, you guys. You are in complete control. You have the responsibility to change your life. If that's something you want to do, then you are in the right place at the right time with the right people. So there's no excuse not to run it up, guys, okay? So like I said earlier, September, October, November time in the autumn pretty much is the months of the harvest. So whatever you planted in the spring, whatever you planted in the summer, what you let grow over this year so far is now going to harvest in autumn. So whatever happens to you over the next few months is a direct reflection of the work you've put in over the last 6 months. So how many seeds did you plant in the summer? Oh wow, I've still got quite a lot more. Okay, I'm just gonna go through it. I just thought it was 1 page, but apparently not. What seeds have you been planting all the year so far? And what you put in is what you get out, right? What you give is what you receive. What you reap is what you sow. You know, the law of sowing and reaping, all these things. And you can't reap what you don't sow. If you didn't put out into, if you believe in the universe, right? If you didn't put out what you want, how can you expect to get it back? If you didn't put energy into focusing on your goals, if you didn't put energy into trying to take the actions to achieve your goals, then how can you expect it to be brought back to you? You know, if you didn't plant in the summer, if you didn't plant in the spring, start planting right now, because it is possible to start planting it and water it through the months of September and then still get a harvest in October and November. Because the choices you make 60, 90 days ago is the reason for the life that you're living right now. So you have to keep pushing regardless of what you're going through as well. And never step off the accelerator, guys. You have to keep pushing through every single day, know your reason why and everything like that. Push through these next 30 days. Make these 30 days, like I said already, what you're never going to forget, right? And don't feel bad for the last 8 months. Maybe if you haven't done what you needed to do, then you can always just accept it. Accept that you haven't put the work in yet and just keep it moving and make sure that you do make up for the time that you have maybe wasted or not put in as much effort as what is required. Because it's not about what you did then. That doesn't matter. That's already gone. You cannot change that. So there's no point trying to like dwell on the past or think about, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. That doesn't matter. That no longer matters. Stop thinking about it, right? It matters what you do from today. It matters what you do for the rest of the night today. It doesn't even matter what you did yesterday, because there's nothing you can do about that. You are only in control of the present moment now. You are only in control of what you can do right now to, you know, get you to where you want to be, to make the decisions to get you to where you want to be, right? So what are you going to do for the rest of today? Never mind yesterday or next week. What are you going to do today that's going to get you to where you want to be? What are you going to do today that's going to determine the rest of your month? Like, and with the, what's it called? With the evaluation, that's something you need to get done tonight so that you know what you need to work on tomorrow. And with the evaluation as well, like I said, you have to keep it very real with yourself. When you're doing an evaluation, right, actually think about what have you done that has worked? What have you done that hasn't worked? What have you been meaning to do but you haven't still got around to it, and why haven't you still got around to it? And also, what are the little things that are holding you back? What are your limiting beliefs? Have a really deep think about what is actually holding you back from reaching that full potential. Okay? So yeah, with that being said, that is the end of the call today, guys. Thank you for jumping on. Make sure you tag me in Instagram and make sure if you got value, which hopefully you did, go back to your group chat and let everyone know that they missed out on source. But yeah, thank you guys. I need to stop the recording.